Within this video, we're going to be working through the UEFN virtual exhibit Adding Signage lesson guide. And what we're going to be adding are specifically these bits of signage for all of the pieces within your exhibit. To begin this, we're going to go ahead and add in that plaque, as it's going to be kind of the background for all of the text that we're going to be adding in. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and add in a static mesh, which we can find inside of the content drawer inside of this project. So down here in the bottom left, we're going to go ahead and open up the content drawer. I'm just going to hit Control Space to open that up. And inside of our little search section right here, let's go ahead and look for the word plaque. And what we're going to be using specifically is this one that you see right here, this S plaque, so our static mesh plaque. So I'm just going to click and drag this into the world, and I'm going to go ahead and set it right there. Now, it's not aligned perfectly, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and adjust that. And one thing that I want to do before I actually start moving things is to make sure that this button that we see right here is actually set to local as opposed to global. And it will look like a little box with 3 little lines that come out of it. And if it doesn't look like that, go ahead and just click on it so that it will actually toggle to our local mode. Next, we're going to go ahead and rotate this object so that it's laying flat against the surface that it's sitting on. And to do that, we're going to make sure that we're using our rotation tool. So this one right here, go ahead and select that. And then I do have a snapping set to 15 degrees with the snapping toggled on. If you want to go ahead and toggle that on now, that's probably a great idea. And then the 15 degree, you can go and just click that, go ahead and choose this right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this section of my gizmo, this little green part, and just go ahead and rotate it like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this blue section right here. Go ahead and rotate it this direction. From here, I'm going to go ahead and use my move gizmo, and I can go and just slide this over just a little bit and bring it down. And then, of course, use the scale gizmo that you see right here to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. And I am going to go ahead and grab the very dead center of this gizmo just so that it will actually scale uniformly in all 3 directions, like so. It is worth noting that I have the snaps for the grid and the scale toggled off just to make it a little bit easier to place this here inside of the world. Now, our next step is to go ahead and add in the text that we're going to see on this plaque. And this is going to be done using one of the Fortnite devices, the Billboard. So let's go back down into our content drawer. I'm just going to hold Control and hit Spacebar. And I want to go ahead and clear anything that's actually inside of our filter here, because I won't need that. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select the Fortnite folder, this one right here. And inside of this one, I want to go ahead and jump into the devices folder, which we see right here. So go ahead and just double click on this folder. Now in here, this is where we want to go ahead and start using that search again. So inside of here, I'm going to type in the word billboard. And we should see our Billboard device show up right here. Next, let's go ahead and just click and drag this into the world. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of set it right here. And it might seem really, really big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the F key on the keyboard just to kind of frame it. And it may come in at a funny angle. So we need to go ahead and address that. But to make our lives a whole lot easier, let's actually turn on something inside of the engine that'll allow us to select anything that's transparent or translucent. And you can find that up here in the very top right-hand corner of your interface underneath settings. Let's go ahead and open this one up. And this first one that we see in here that says allow translucent selection, we want to make sure that this is toggled on. That way we can select this even though it's kind of see-through. So go ahead and click on that. Next, let's go ahead and rotate this so that it's basically facing the same direction. So while it's still selected, I'm going to go ahead and click on the rotate tool right here. And we'll go ahead and rotate this. And I'm going to go ahead and rotate it about 90 degrees. Now you can see that my snaps are no longer turned on, and this might be a little bit tricky to get it perfect. So what I'm going to do is undo that, just hit Control Z, come back up here and toggle on my snaps. Now let's go ahead and turn this. Hey, there we go. Now it's going to snap nice and easy. Now, if you don't see it say simple text, you might need to spin it another 180 degrees because we can't actually see anything on the back side. So it can be a little confusing that way. So I'm going to go ahead and just rotate this around this way, just like that. Our next move is to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. So using the scale tool, we'll go ahead and click this one right here. We'll go ahead and scale this down as far as we can get it, about like so. And we'll go ahead and use our move tool and push this down just a little bit. Like so. I'm going to hit the F key just to zoom in on it. And we want to change the actual text on here. So with this one selected inside of our details panel over here on the right, we're actually looking for this field right here that says text. And instead of saying simple text, we're going to go ahead and enter in the information that we need for our exhibit. So in this case, it's a Japanese statue. Once you're happy with the text, go ahead and press the Enter key on the keyboard. And now we need to move this over to the center of our billboard because right now it's justified on its left-hand side. To change that, we actually have a text justification drop-down that we can work with. And instead of saying left, just click on this and go ahead and choose center. Now, the last thing we want to do with this one specifically is just make the text a little bit bigger. And just below our text justification, we have a text size. It's currently set to 12. I'm going to go ahead and set this back up to something like 17, just so it's a little bit larger. The last thing that we want to add is a description of what this actually is. So a little bit of text right here. So to do that, we're actually going to duplicate the billboard that we have. And this is actually really easy to do. Our billboard is selected, and to duplicate it, we'll just come up here to where it says edit, come down here to choose duplicate, like so. Now, this is where it's going to be really, really important to make sure that this button right here is actually set to local, because it's going to make it a lot easier to move this billboard around. So I'm going to hit the F key just to frame in on it, and I'm going to hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and left mouse click and drag, and I can kind of orbit around it. And if I grab this section of my gizmo, this green one right here in my case, I'm just going to click and drag and push this forward, and you can see now I have another billboard. So I'm going to push it forward just a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and drop it down like so. And then I need to go ahead and fill in the information right here. So we can just click and drag across this, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste in some information. Now, here's a cool little pro tip. If you hold down the Shift key and then hit Enter, you can actually add in a couple of lines. So I've gone ahead and entered in 2 of them here. And then off screen, I'm actually going to copy the rest of the information I want and then paste it in here like so. Now, when we just hit Enter, it'll go ahead and update on our billboard. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that it's cutting off the text here, and that's because of the actual text size. So let's go ahead and smash that down a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a value of 11. And if need be, we can go ahead and just move this down a little bit. Now, to make this as easy to work with as possible, we're going to go ahead and start binding some of the stuff together here, just to make it really easy to move the plaque, and all of the information will go along with it. So the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and rename our billboard to something like, I don't know, title. So right click on it, come down into edit, and then go ahead and choose rename. We'll call this one title. And our billboard 2, we'll go ahead and right click on that one, come down here into edit, and we're going to go ahead and choose rename for this one, and we'll call this info. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and click right here between both the details and the outliner, and I want to open this up a little bit. So if I click and drag, we can see that we have our title here, we have our info here, and we have our plaque right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the title and I'm going to click and drag it onto the plaque. I'm going to take the info, I'm going to drag that one onto the plaque as well. And now if I select the plaque, when I go ahead and move it, you'll notice that those other pieces go along for the ride, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and undo that and set it back where it is. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera back. Now, if I want to duplicate all 3 of these pieces, the plaque, the info, and the title, I need to make sure that they're all selected. So I'm going to select the plaque, hold Shift on the keyboard, and then click on title. This is going to grab all of 3 of these. Now, if I come up here to edit and duplicate, when I move this, you'll notice that I have a new set. And if I need to, I can come in here on the info and I can change that here. And under the title, I can go ahead and change that one there. So there you have it. Now you know how to create signage for all of the pieces inside of your exhibit, add a plaque, and manipulate it and duplicate it around your world as needed.